Hello and welcome to the Car Care channel, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to replace the spark plugs on the new twin turbo V6 from Toyota and Lexus. This is going to be the video for the V35A-FTS. This is going to be an engine you're going to find in 2022 up to 2025 as a later filming this video. Toyota Tundra, 2023 and up, Toyota Sequoia hybrid, Tundra hybrid and non-hybrid of course, Lexus GX 550, Lexus LX 600 and the 700H. You can technically use this for the Lexus LS 500 with the V35A. However, that one is slightly different, but it's actually easier. You have more space and less things you got to take. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Before we get started, let's talk about a few things. First, the spark plugs on this engine are due every 40,000 miles. That's what Toyota wanted. That's actually been the case with all Toyota and Lexus turbo engines, so this one is no exceptions. They're a little bit early, so doing it yourself may save a few bucks because dealerships are charging a lot for this job for some reason. Let's talk about the skill level real quick. If you've owned the previous V8 Tundra, Sequoia, you've done the spark plugs, this is going to be a slight challenge beyond that. If you own a GX 460, you've done spark plugs or not, this will be somewhat similar. Few precautions we're going to talk about. Access is very difficult. This is a V6 engine that is pushed all the way in, so access is difficult. If you have a lifted truck, you might want to get yourself a table like this one. You can find it at Home Depot, any hardware store. This will help you a lot with access. Second thing, whenever you access through the front, do not lean on the little hoses that are on the sensor on the radiator because they love to break. Be very careful with that, especially as these cars get older. They're plastic. Be careful. Second thing is always be mindful where you are resting your weight. There's a lot of plastic hoses. There's a lot of things. You always want to rest on a solid component, not on a flimsy hose that's going to break. Having said that, let's go talk about the tools needed for this job. We'll dive in. These are all the tools you need to do this job. Let's go over them to make sure we are prepared. You need a torque wrench. Doesn't matter if it's 3/8, quarter inch, as long as it can go as low as 66 inch-pounds, as high as 15 foot-pounds. Most torque wrenches will do that. You may need 2 for the inch-pound. Then the key tool to make this job easier are these two. These are an 8mm long extension, small swivel head. Same thing with this one. This is a 10. This is a gear wrench. I'll leave it in the description. This set is a must-have tool if you're going to DIY stuff on a Toyota or a Lexus, because this comes in a set and it really saves you a lot of stuff. So invest in these. Otherwise, a long extension and a swivel socket, 8mm, 10mm. Then we're going to need a spark plug socket. This particular socket is actually a Mercedes-Benz special tool. Works great. It's actually not expensive. You have multiple alternatives. You can buy something like this, which is basically a 14mm snap-on socket. You don't need a snap-on. There's multiple imitations, similar things. This doesn't work very well because you notice this one is swivel, this one is not. So don't try to get a socket size like this. Alternatively, if you don't want to spend money on this, just get a 14mm socket. Loosen the plug, loosen it all the way, then put a magnet and get it out. Speaking of the magnet, you can use something like this. This is just a pocket screwdriver. It'll help you so much, and the tip is magnetic. You should have this in your arsenal if you're a DIYer. The next thing you need is a 6-inch 3/8 extension, 10-inch 3/8 extension. These will help you pull the plugs out. This would help a little bit, but you can use this one. This is just a 10mm socket, ratchet 3/8, and for some of the hoses to move them around, a needle nose plier. Could be a smaller one, could be any other shape. Needle nose plier that you could move hoses with and get them loose. This is all you need to do this job. And if you want to speed things up, get yourself a small impact driver like this one, just to run bolts out, run them in quicker instead of using a hand ratchet, and you're all set now. Let's go do the job. We're going to start first, remove the engine cover. Pull it from the front, pull it out. Has 2 tabs right here, and they clip right there on top of the intercooler there. So here's what we need to do to start. you need to loosen your wire harness. You have 2 10s here, 2 10s here, and then one in the very back. That one in the very back, you can leave it there until we get to that side, but start by removing these 4. So the first thing you want to do is remove this bracket. This bracket is going to have this 10mm bolt here, and there is an 8mm bolt right here. And then the other thing you got to consider here, this sensor right here, you have a choice. You can either remove it completely, hose, 8mm bolt on the side and the connector, or you can leave it, but it's going to make it a little bit tighter. So let's start by removing this sensor. Disconnect the connector. This hose can be very tight to pull out, so be gentle. If it doesn't want to come out, get your needle nose pliers, turn it a little bit, then you'll be able to get it out. Now I'm going to remove my 10 and my 8mm right here. Now that we got this, there is one clip right here for the harness. You want to unclip it, basically pull this clip out like so, and then pop it out from the bracket. There it is. Now that your bracket is loose, this is how you're gonna take it out. Take it out of the front. Move your harness out of the way like this. Slowly walk it. This bracket is long. You'll be able to get it out. Slowly watch your sensor. There's your sensor coming out. And that's this bracket. So the first thing we're going to do is remove the purge valve, which is this guy right here. This is just sitting on a pin and it has a rubber bushing. So once you pull it out, it just comes out. It has 3 hoses. Here's a recommendation. The rear hose, don't pull it out. Pull only these 2. So this one, just pull it out. If it doesn't want to come out like this, use a little needle nose, spin it. You're gonna see how it's moving. And now I'm gonna slowly walk it out. Be very careful because this valve is plastic. There you go. There goes that hose, and just set it to the side. Then the top hose. This one has a clamp. This one is a special one. So we're going to pull this clamp back, and then same thing. Rotate the hose a little bit. Once it starts rotating, try to pull it out. Just be gentle with this because this is a plastic valve. There we go. Now that we got it at this stage, it's this hose, you're going to pull the whole valve out. So I'm going to hold it and pull it out. You see how it just came off of this? Now that we got the valve loose, you're going to want to kind of tuck it behind and out to the side like this. Just tuck it behind this harness and out of the way. Now, you're going to also take this hose, tuck it up a little bit. Now, if you look in the opening, you can clearly see the 3 coils. Here's 1, here's 2, and then 3. So we're gonna disconnect the connectors. It's very tight to film it. I'm gonna disconnect the connectors, then I'll show you how you disconnect them. Just like any Toyota connector, you're gonna push the connector in, push this little tab right here, this tab, squeeze it and pull. But the most important thing is you pull it, you push it, the connector in, push the tab, pull it out, and it comes right out. These are still newer cars. We'll see what happens in the future. There's this one. The last one is quite a reach, so be patient with it. You have to kind of, that's that one. You have to just practice your hands to get in there. Push it in, push the tab, pull it out. This one is gonna give you a fight, so be ready for it. There it is. So now you're gonna remove the 3 8mm bolts. There's 1, 2, and the third one is right there. These are the 3 coils. So let me remove those because you guys are kind of in the way right now. Don't worry about these bolts. They are super long, so they're not going anywhere. Now, it would be helpful if you have a pocket screwdriver like this one with a magnetic tip. Just kind of get the bolts out. Like you see, they're giant, long bolts. So don't worry about them when you take them off. They're not going anywhere. Here's the second one. Here is the third one. Just don't drop them. Get a good magnet. Now that we got to this stage, it's a matter of pulling the coils. So just gonna grab the coil, pop it out. So you see how we're gonna be hitting on hoses and harness and whatnot. You wanna move things as you pull the coil. There you go. Here's a first coil. How about that? Let's do the same with the other 2. This is the tightest one. See how the harness is holding it? You have to kind of maneuver the harness, move it, try to find a spot. This is where this valve will be in your way, so move it to the side. Here it is. It's out. You gotta maneuver it between the harness. There it is. That's the third coil. So now we're gonna get our 14mm socket, which this one is a spark plug socket, but you can use a regular 14, just use a magnet to pull your plug. We're gonna go in, engage on the plug. I'm gonna use a hand tool to loosen it. This is just a double extension. Can you use a shorter one? Here it is. It's loose. The first 2, you've gotten this far, give yourself a break and tackle the first 2. Here's a recommendation though. I mean, basically we're gonna do this until the plug comes out. You're gonna do 1 plug at a time here because you don't want to keep it open. You're moving the harness. There's a lot of dust. Do 1 plug at a time. So while we take this plug out, which I think it should be out. There we go. Can I tell you a secret? Ooh, this plug looks horrendous. But can I tell you a secret? I am not replacing the plugs on this car. This is my car. It has 5,000 miles. So got 35 more thousand miles to go. I'm literally going to put this plug back. Just doing this video for you guys, not because I hear some dealers are charging over $1,000 to do this. Yeah, that's a bit much. So basically, I am going to put this plug back and we'll see you in 35,000 miles in my case. In your case, here is the part number for the spark plug. Don't drop a spark plug. Don't gap spark plugs. Always put original Toyota plugs. So the torque spec for this one is 15. I'm going to set my torque wrench here. That's it. This spark plug is done. The second spark plug, you just got a straight shot. The only thing you want to be careful with is, do you see how we're hitting here on the cowl? So you're going to take your extension out and just use the long one. And then you're going to do exactly the same thing. Break it loose, change it, torque it down. Now the last one, you got 2 methods to do it, because if you put it right here, your ratchet is just gonna jam here and you won't be able to. So we're gonna use a shorter extension. You're gonna go here. This one is very tight, so be patient. The harness will be in your way. Move the harness out of the way. Move it across. There we go. Now you're gonna go in, wrench that plug out, put the new one in, torque it to spec, This one is the tightest one. So maybe if you want, start with this one. And then we are basically set at this point. All your plugs are in. We're gonna start reassembly. And the first thing with reassembly is install your coils. At this point, you took them out, you know how they come out. And I'm gonna say it like the repair manual. Installation is a reverse order of removal. Here's something when you install the coils. Make sure you find where your bolt hole is and where it is in the valve cover. Like, do you see how these are? There's one right there. There's one right here. Don't install it backwards because you may not be able to turn it around. So this one is good. If you want to verify, throw this bolt in there. See, it's not fully lined up. There we go. Once the bolt drops, we're good. This one, we have to move this vacuum hose. And install this one. This hose is in the way. We're going to move it out of the way. And there's the coil. Last one, which is the not fun one. I'm going to go a little bit in the back. I'm going to push it all the way in. And we're going to start, just put our bolts on. Just drop them and they should drop. There we go. The last one. There we go. Now the bolts for the coils are 66 inch-pounds, so don't go wailing at them. So first we're going to connect the first coil. Then the second coil. Then the last coil. There we go. So now we're going to install our valve back. You're basically going to rescue it from behind the harness. The valve is right here now. And roll it around. You can disconnect this valve from the harness as well if it makes it easier for you. I didn't. Here it is. That's the valve back at the top. We're going to position it over that bracket. Just like so. There we go. It's engaged in the bracket. We're good. Make sure the other side of the hose didn't disconnect. It's very clear when you're standing there to see it. Now this hose, we're going to bring it down and connect it. There we go. And you got that clamp. And I got the clamp down. There we go. And the last hose is the side one. This doesn't have a clamp. Perfect. Now all we have left here is the bracket. So now we got to install our bracket. Remember, this bracket goes through this side. Lift the harness up, move it in place. Watch your sensor. Watch your other sensor here. And there it is. And the 10mm bolt at the front. This is going to keep fighting you like this, keep falling. That's normal. Now, this back bolt, lining up the bracket with the harness pushing you right here, is going to be fun. So I recommend you clip the harness. It'll actually make it easier. You line it up, get the bolt. This is where you're going to potentially drop this bolt. So get ready. Don't be upset. If it goes very smoothly, you lucked out. So don't celebrate victories until it's complete. The torque spec for these two bolts is 7. I'm going to just run them down. One of them is 10. The other one is 8. Now the last thing on this side is this vacuum hose and the connector. Vacuum hose does not go like this. It goes inside, like so. And you're going to plug it to the bottom of the sensor here. It's plugged in like so. And the last thing is your connector. Now there's one last thing you want to make sure you did, which is clip this harness in. This clips into the bracket that we removed. It would make it easier if you clip this before you tighten the bracket, because it makes the bolt here installation better. And with that, this side is actually completed. Take a break, celebrate, and then start all over again on the other side, which has its own set of challenges. Now we're going to start with this side. Few things with this side. Same thing, last spark plug, pretty tight. You do have this coolant pipe that you have to not take it off, but just take the bracket for it so it would move freely. And then we have this 10mm bolt for this part of the harness, which is actually what we're going to start with right here. Be careful with this bolt, because it's a very short bolt. I'd rather you loosen it and take it out by hand, because it will fall. And if you're lucky, it'll fall on the ground. If you're not lucky, it'll be gone and you'll never see it again till you stop looking for it. Now that we got this out, we're going to take the bracket. If you look all the way in here, right there is an 8mm bolt. We're going to take it out. Also be careful, because this one loves to drop. I would loosen it, try to take it out by hand. Now your coolant hose moves freely. We'd like this part of the harness to also do the same thing. In order to do that, we got this little clip here, just like the other side. We're going to push the clip out, pull the whole harness. Now this almost moves freely. You notice there's one thing holding it, which is the high pressure fuel pump connector. This connector is a little bit interesting to pull out because there are two tabs on the edges. So if you look at it, so this connector has two tabs, one on this side, one on this side. You're going to squeeze both of them, push it in, squeeze them, and it pops out just like that. Now we're going to start disconnecting our coils. First connector is right there. Same thing. Same thing. Push the connector in, push the tab, and pull it out just like that. Second one is right here, same thing. Push it in, push the tab, pop it out. Third one is the fun one. This is the one that I will make a recommendation on. You can reach it all the way in the back here, but there is a bracket, which is this one. That's in the way. This bracket, you have to remove it to pull the coil out, or at least loosen it and move it to the side. I'm going to completely remove it because it'll make your connector removal easier if you remove this. So this has a 10mm bolt. This bolt, gotta be careful with it. Hold the bracket and then loosen it as you pull the bracket up so you wouldn't drop your bolt, because this bolt is another one that loves to disappear on you. There you go. So you're basically gonna loosen it, and as you loosen it, pull the bracket up so this bolt would stay in the hole of the bracket and not fall. Now that we got to this stage, look at the harness. You can actually twist it this way. You see that? And that's what you're gonna do to pull the coil out. So let me disconnect the connector, which is now very accessible. Here it is. Now your harness moves. Now let's count our coils. This is the first coil, and there's your second and third coil, super accessible, just like the other side. Two of them are very accessible, one of them is a little bit tighter. So we got 8mm bolts. Let's take them out, same thing. We'll pull the coils out, we'll talk about the rest. Yeah, remove the bolts for the coils first. Again, don't worry about these falling. They're not going anywhere because they're very long. The last one is a little bit of a interesting deal you have to do. You have to twist this harness this way, and then you'll have direct access to the bolt and the coil and everything. Let me get you a shot of that so you can see it. Do you see how you have a direct shot at this coil when I twist this harness to the side? You see the bolt, you see the coil itself. I'm going to pull these bolts with a magnet. This one is not. second one is fun. Now we're going to twist that harness again. Pull the third bolt. There we are. Now we're going to pull our coils, but before we do, if you look at this coil, do you see this coil? If I pull it up right now, it's going to hit this vacuum line. This vacuum line is just connected to the valve cover. Just pull it out of the way, and then we're going to pull our first coil. There it is. Now the second coil, this coolant hose, you can move it out of the way as much as you need. Of course, don't yank on it hard because this is plastic, so be careful. Do you see this fuel line? I'm going to point at it in editing. When you pull this coil, don't make sure it's not turned towards that fuel line because it'll hit it. Make sure it's sitting just like that. And then we're going to pop this coil out. Move the coolant hose. This is kind of a dance between the pushing the coolant hose, pulling on the coil until it comes out. There it is. Then we hit the harness, and here we go. This one's out. Now the last one. The last one is very simple to pull out actually, but very difficult to film. So we're gonna twist our harness this way, and when you do this, if you look over here, the coil is actually right there. So all we're gonna do is pull it. And there's the coil. Now we pull the plugs, finally. We can use our big contraption for the first one. Straight shot. Second one, you're going to move the coolant pipe. And you also have a straight shot at it. Third one, you're going to change to a shorter extension, just like the third one on the other side. This one is going to be very tricky to film, but you basically twist the harness, get your socket on it, and you can wrench it out like this. Same thing, 15 foot-pounds here, nothing crazy. Like I told you, we are not replacing the plugs in this car, we're just doing this video to help you. So now, we're basically gonna get our coils back. This little vacuum hose, don't forget it just clips right there. Once you put your coil, you can clip it back. Not a big thing. Put the one bolt on every coil you put in, just put the bolt. Second coil, the one with the coolant hose. Pull this coolant hose up. With the harness. This is the best way I'll describe this job is it's a slight obstacle course. I mean, it's not difficult. Access is what's difficult, and the obstacle course. You're kind of maneuvering things around other things, trying to make it work. There's that one. Last coil. I'm going to twist this harness like this, and then get it. That's it. So now we're gonna tighten our 8mm bolts. These are again 66 inch-pounds. Plug in all your connectors. There's one. There's two. And then the third one is very difficult to see with the camera, but it's same thing. Twist your harness. It's in. Now we have a small detour. Remember that bracket we removed? We have to install it. There is something about this bracket that you need to know about. This has a little cutout. Do you see this cutout? There is another cutout on the valve cover. You have to line that cutout on the valve cover in the middle of this, and that's the right position for it. So we're going to install this bracket. Be patient. This bolt may drop on you, so it's a very tight space, and you got to get it started and lined up at the same time. So be patient. Definitely be patient. There we go. I got the bolt started. Now I'm gonna make sure that tab is sitting on the valve cover. Run it down. You can see it, but you can't get a camera in there, of course. So you're gonna put it in place, hand tighten the bolt until everything is down. Now you're gonna get your harness over it. Don't forget that part. And then you can clip it here. There you go, that's clipped in. Now we're gonna torque that guy to spec, which is 7 foot-pounds. Here's that one. The next fun bolt will be the one for this coolant pipe. This one, you have access to it. Just be careful, because you could also drop this one. Less chances, but this is it. The last struggle. Let's put it this way. This one is also 7. There we go. Now the last thing you want to do is plug in your high pressure fuel pump. Do not forget this one. There it is. Our harness clipped in here. Everything is good. We connected all our coils. Your vacuum line is connected. So just do a double check. At this point, you're done with this side. We got one more thing and we're done. Last thing we're going to do is put our 4 bolts for the harness. Actually, they are 5. I forgot to put the other one on the other side. You can remove them first thing when you start. It's your call. No set things. Be careful with these. It's very tempting to lean over them. Then run them down. And these are 7 foot-pounds. And just before we celebrate, there's one last thing to do. Put the engine cover back. You're going to start the rear, like so. Clip the front. And there you go. And just like that, you just saved yourself a big chunk of change. Folks, I want to share with you a few things. Right after you're done with this job, before you put the cover, start the car. Make sure you don't have a check engine light. Make sure everything is running properly. Basically, if you have a check engine light or something is not running right, you forgot to plug something in. Not the end of the world. Go back, check, see what's going on. Assuming if you are doing this kind of DIY job, you have at least a basic code reader. You can erase the codes later, not a big issue. This job, I'm going to reiterate it one time. Now you've watched this video and you know what's involved if you're just in this planning stages of doing this. It's going to test multiple things of your skills. First, and the biggest thing, is going to test your back. I mean, this is a lifted truck a little bit from the factory. If you have a lower one, like a standard one, it'll be a little bit easier, but still quite a stretch. Be patient. There's the second thing it's going to test, your patience. And the third thing it's going to test is, are you able to remember where all these things go? Now, we walked you through how things go here. There's not really a lot to remove. Pretty simple job. But it takes a little bit of load on your back and patience. It takes patience. That's what's difficult about it. If you're an impatient person and you're going to start throwing things and get upset, have someone else do it. That's all I'll tell you, because this will test your patience. Now, there's something I'd also like to share with you. You saw this video, you were considering it, and now you're like, you know what, this is a little bit outside my skill set. I don't want to buy the tools and all that. I'd rather have somebody do it. At my shop, we charge 2.5 hours to do this of labor, times the labor charge. That's how times in the automotive industry works. I've seen dealerships charge 5 hours for this job. That is excessive, because as a DIYer, it may take you 2.5 hours. Now, professional mechanics that have done this multiple times, they will get it sooner, but there's a fair charge for the shop and the customer. But 5 hours, that's way too much. I got at least a couple quotes from local dealerships here. 5 hours they're charging for this, which makes this job over $1,000 to do at a dealership. That is very excessive. So be mindful of that. If you think this is very complicated, it's not really that complicated. It's just, you know, taxing a little bit on your body, but that's part of the job. The last thing I want to share with you is, do change these at 40,000 miles. And if you wonder about a PCV valve replacement, we always talk about that, do it with the plugs. just pretend it's not there, because you literally have to tear half this engine apart to get to it. So we're gonna skip the PCV valve because the labor involved to do that is monumental. That's what I'm gonna tell you. It sits all the way in the back. You have to remove the intercooler, you have to move the intake manifold. It is a nightmare to do. So there is that. Folks, if you've owned a previous V8, this is a little bit more, kind of more confined space. There's a few more things you gotta move. It's about the same. Makes it up with only having 6 plugs instead of 8. So folks, I hope this video is helpful and informative. I hope you learned something new. If you like it, consider giving it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber, consider subscribing to the channel. Check out some other videos. Until the next video, folks, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and you have yourself a wonderful day.